In our series of senior speeches is Jaden Kidd. This is her 10th year here at Prep. She's a member of our theater department. She was on the varsity cheer squad this past fall, and she's the founder of the Lunch Bunch. Please welcome Jaden.
Hello. My speech is called Goodbye Prep by me. Goodbye Prep, goodbye Red Slide, and goodbye heavy backpacks. Goodbye Dr. Sulik. And to my brother Jackson, I bid thee farewell. I, like many seniors before me, have spent the last few weeks of senior year awaiting this deadline. Happy 21st, everybody. Who's excited for Thanksgiving break? I would like to start whatever this off by thanking my mother. Because of her decision to send me to Prep, I've had the very unique experience of being able to spend the last 10 years of my life enriched by the presence of the same exact 20 children. We may not be brothers and sisters, but we have grown up as so. So to the class of 2020, thank you. It has been an absolute honor growing up with you guys. I've spent months now pondering the limitless ideas of what to talk about today. I said to myself, Jaden, you've got to write something grand. You've got to write something entertaining, bold, and daring. Yet my ideas always came under the same theme: regret. Have I been living a life of regret? No. Or at least I hope not. Because regret is not a life I want to live, nor a life I wish to advocate for. Yet, for the lack of better words, regret seems to flow down the rivers of all my stories. Because we are students and this is an educational institute, I have found a way of turning my life regrets into life lessons. I think about my past quite a lot. My experiences and what I've been through. If it's positive, well then congratulations, you have a new terrific story to tell. And if it's negative, well, you have a new life lesson, and it is up to you to learn from it. To quote Gail Foreman, sometimes the best way to find out what you're supposed to do is to do the things you're not supposed to do. I think to myself, if I can do all these things right now, then why couldn't I have done them before? And that's where all of my regrets come from. So here I am at the ripe old age of 18 3/4, I know I'm old, bestowing upon you brilliant young students a series of my wishes, my wants, my should-haves, written with my brother Jackson and the freshman class in mind in hopes that you guys will take my advice so you won't have to struggle in high school as much as I did. These are my life lessons. Freshman year, do your homework. I have struggled with homework my entire life. My household, like many others I know, just does not contain the type of vibe or energy you can do homework in. Despite my hatred of it, I eventually taught myself to enjoy the process of doing homework, and I have no doubt in my mind that 9th grade me would cringe hearing that statement. I have finally taken something that was a weapon towards me and used it as my greatest tool. But before I can tell you how, I have to tell you why. Have you ever heard of good touch, bad touch? Well, that kind of applies with homework too. In my opinion, there are two types of homework. There is a type of homework that exactly reflects what you are doing in class, homework that enriches our minds and prepares us for hard tests, homework that is thought-provoking and question-seeking. I call this good homework. And then there's the opposite of that. There is bad homework. Homework that teachers pull out of outdated textbooks and worksheets that are found online made by other teachers. How do you spot a piece of bad homework, you might ask? Well, it's easy because you can find the questions online. I started my struggle in middle school. For me, middle school was primarily structured around what I do call bad homework. It was quantity over quality, and if any argument behind this was to prepare me for high school, then somebody failed. Sorry. Here is when life started to suck. In 8th grade. In 8th grade, not doing your homework came with actual consequences. Lunch detention. I spent almost all of my lunch detentions staring at Coach Wald in the middle school Spanish room. Hey, Anna, Want a ding-dong? We weren't allowed to talk, so there were no thought-provoking conversation, and if you were late, you had to stay, but the detention wouldn't count. So I couldn't get my foods most days. I was just a kid who couldn't do their homework, and I just needed help. Jojo Moyes once said, we all make mistakes. Go, take your punishment, then come back and start again. But no matter how hard I did try to get it all done, I always had lunch detention. It's kind of like getting detention in high school. Once you start, you somehow never stop. Subsequently, I don't eat lunch in the cafeteria anymore. I just couldn't go back. After years of eating in silence, I graduated out of middle school and into high school, and with that came the lunch bunch. Thank you, Miss Carson, for letting me eat lunch with you for the past 4 years. I will treasure our many conversations together. I wish I could go back and tell myself things would be different for me now, that doing homework would only benefit me, because that's all good homework should do. But I can't go back. I cannot tell myself to do so, so I'm telling you guys, please do your homework. Sophomore year, get some sleep. Sleep, my baby, sleep. I am a champion sleeper, and if I could go to sleep for the rest of my life, I would. But I can't, because I have homework. I believe sleep is a topic we can all relate to, because when I ask you guys how you are in the hallways, I will either get one of two responses, good or tired, which sounds about right. I've struggled with sleep, and I still really do. In 9th grade, I was diagnosed with ADHD and prescribed Adderall. If you don't know what Adderall is, it's a stimulant. It works like coffee, but all day. While the drug improved my work ethic tremendously, the effect it had on my sleeping schedule was catastrophic for a 15-year-old. I'd spent so many nights lying in bed, just staring at the glow-in-the-dark mushrooms on my ceiling. 2, then 3, then 4 a.m. would roll around, and usually by then I would finally fall asleep. 3 hours later, I would wake up, come to school, take another Adderall, and bam, I'd be awake again. Kind of. I was functional. I was like a zombie. The day comes to a blissful end, and with that another night staring at the ceiling. No matter how hard I would try, I could never fall asleep, and I went through this cycle for years. My Adderall allowed me to be the student I never was, but I paid serious consequences for taking it. The Center for Disease and Control and Prevention says that children and adolescents who do not get enough sleep have a higher risk of obesity, diabetes, injuries, poor mental health, and problems with attention and behavior. I must say this year has been a lot better for me. I've been falling asleep before 12 and waking up at around 7. Victory has been won in the sleep department. But how? Cheerleading. It was cheerleading. It was exercise. It's unbelievable. I'd never seen it before. I'd never done sports before, so how could I know? I was blind to something so prevalent here at Prep. The second I started conditioning, I started sleeping better. Cheer was one of the best decisions I have ever made, and for the first time in years, I can fall asleep at night. So run, my fellow intellects, run. Junior year, do theater! I would recommend theater to anyone. I can't say that it exactly improved my speaking skills, since I still mumble when I talk and I never have the right words for what I'm thinking, but it sure did make me confident. Think of someone admirable to you. It might be an actor or an athlete. Do you think that they are confident about themselves? If your answer is yes, then my answer is to do theater. Theater is all about the journey, not the destination. For me, it's everything that happens before you perform that makes theater so amazing. You don't have to be able to sing or act, just make like an athlete and do it. The biggest stigma I hear around it is that you have to be a theater kid. But in reality, half the kids on stage don't know the words to the songs they're singing, so do theater. Out of all my years here at Prep, my biggest regret was not doing theater for freshman and sophomore year. I have yet to learn the lesson from this, but all I know is that I stopped doing something that I love to do. But that's okay, because look at me now. I'm a wardrobe. What I love most about theater is the rehearsals, the late nights, the photo shoots, the shenanigans, searching the theater for homeless men or keeping your eye out for ghosts. I know I do. Theater is fun, it's easy, it's a beautiful thing to do. You don't have to put your whole world into it to get a whole world out of it. I would recommend theater to anyone. Senior year, and I don't have a lot to say because I haven't finished it yet. But enjoy it, relish in your mistakes, learn to accept the past, and get ready for the future. No matter how much trouble you get into, just remember, this too shall pass. Got caught drinking? Well, there's a 3-month expiration date until your parents forget all about it. It is weird how big our troubles seem when we are only so young. This year I've had to accept that as a direct result of me not doing my homework, I have a terrible GPA. Or at least what I currently consider terrible, as my opinions are subject to change as fast as Prep's dress code. To quote Neil Gaiman, go and make interesting mistakes. Make amazing mistakes. Make glorious and fantastic mistakes. Break rules. Leave the world more interesting for you being here. And finally, just think optimistically, because what you think is how you feel. So my advice to the freshmen is to go to school, stop drooling, start juicing, spend more time alone, do theater, get creative, be micro-ambitious, not macro-ambitious. You will miss the shiny thing right in the corner of your eye. Be curious, explore, have fun, go to night class, enjoy the beach and learn from your past, love your friends, play a game of chess, tell your brother that you love him, call your grandparents. Love is universal, love is a prediction, love is a micro-ambition. And to the class of 2020, we have lived incredible lives. May we one day meet again and rejoice in our childhoods. But for now, we must continue on forward to college. Thank you.
Yeah!